The infamous Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis in Empreinte. Is it worth it? Hello and welcome to another honest and in-depth handbag review featuring the infamous Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis in monogram empreinte leather in noir or black color. First, let's quickly go through the features of this handbag. It measures 24.7 by 19 by 9 centimeters. It weighs 0.75 kilos or 1.65 pounds. It's in the monogram empreinte embossed supple-grained cowhide leather. The embossing is just in the front and back. It's in gold color hardware. It has a short top handle for hand carry, which is 2.6 centimeters wide, and a 2 centimeter wide removable shoulder or crossbody strap with 7 adjustments, which drops from 50 to 58 centimeters. This bag features the S-lock closure. It has a zipped pocket on the back with a leather attached on the pull tab. The canvas versions do not have a leather on the pull tab. It zips smoothly, and on the inside you have a textile lining. This pocket is generous and fits my Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus comfortably. On the bottom, it does not have any feet. This is how you open the S-lock. On the inside, you have the same textile lining and 3 different sized compartments. So I have had this since March 2018. This was purchased on my behalf by a good friend who went to Venice at that time. A big shout out to Jen Silva. I still cannot thank you enough for this. The price in Italy back then was 1,650 euros. Currently, this retails for 1,700 euros or 2,300 US dollars. I have added the links in the description box below for your reference. Now let's discuss the wear and tear along with the pros and cons. Let's begin with the pros. I have used this so many countless times and the leather is very durable. But I want to highlight a very unforgettable experience I had with this bag, which happened during our Europe trip in December 2018, which was the first time that I used this on travel. It was rainy throughout the entire trip. I did bring a handbag raincoat with me, which worked perfectly. However, there was one day that I completely forgot the handbag raincoat at the hotel, and we were already out and about. Then it started to rain so bad, it was very windy, so the umbrellas were not much help, and the bag was starting to get wet on the outside. I tried to cover it with my thick scarf, but the bag was damp the entire time. When we returned to the hotel at the end of the day, I did my best to wipe it dry immediately. I was so worried that I ruined the leather, but once everything completely dried off, it looked perfectly fine as if nothing happened. Next, still related to travel, is that this bag is sort of understated. I mean, I don't have anything against logos. I loved the Cluny BB in the monogram canvas that I had back then, but I think it would be easier to use an understated bag, particularly when traveling. I mean, this is not completely understated as you can still see the logos up close, but I think it still makes a lot of difference to not draw so much attention to yourself, which was why I opted to bring this during our Europe trip and also to see how I would fare with it. Moving on, the strap is adjustable and comfortable on the shoulder, and that was one of the reasons why I went for the empreinte leather instead of the classic monogram canvas. I do have the strap of the monogram canvas though, which I purchased back in October 2016 to match my then owned Cluny BB, and this canvas strap is so stiff. It can be painful on the shoulder when the bag is completely stuffed, especially if you're not wearing thick clothing. I'll hopefully do a separate video on my Cluny BB experience and why I don't have it anymore. Next is versatility. You can wear it multiple ways as a shoulder, crossbody or top handle bag. I also love that the top handle sort of retracts and can lay flat against the flap, so that when you're wearing the bag and you open it, the handle does not stick out towards your body. However, there is also a con to this retractable top handle design, which I will discuss later on. And then there's the structure, organization, and capacity. I am all about structured bags. Aside from holding its shape, it keeps your stuff inside from moving around, and the 3 separate compartments on this bag just made it so much better as it keeps you organized. So these are what I usually have inside when I use this bag on a regular basis. On the back compartment, I have my mirror, nail file, pen, and power bank cord. On the middle compartment, I have my mini pochette accessoire, my wallet, and my power bank. On the front compartment, I just have my keys and lipstick, and my phone on the back zipped pocket, but it can fit a lot more. I'm sure you've seen so many videos on YouTube, as much as I did, on how much more stuff this bag can fit, so I won't go to that extent anymore, otherwise this video will be too long. Now moving on to the cons, let me just get this out there. This bag is heavy. It is full leather after all, so even when it's empty, there's already a bit of weight to it. Therefore, it's not the best bag to use if you're out and about, walking the entire day, especially if you stuff the bag. With all the stuff I have in here, this is how much it weighs. And having that weight on your shoulder for an entire day, topped with sore legs and feet, is terribly exhausting. Next con is actually very minor, but was one of the most common complaints on all of the bags that has this hardware, which is the S-lock closure. It is difficult to close if the bag is empty, but it's not really an issue if the bag is stuffed. So I suggest that you always have something inside the front compartment so that you won't face this issue. Next is another common complaint. The glazing on the flap tends to crack. I think this will eventually happen in the long run, because obviously you need to open and close the flap. Over the past few years, this has been a huge problem on the canvas version. In my case, on this Empreinte leather, the cracks are in this section of the flap on both sides. This side here is worse than the other. When the bag is closed, it's not really visible. I think it matters how far back the flap is being opened in this case. I usually just open it to this extent and don't bend it all the way to the back, which I think could have made the cracks worse if I did. Another issue is that the clasps of the straps on both sides tend to rub against the glazing on the flap. Although if you're using it strictly as a crossbody bag, then you will not have this problem, since the strap clasps will be far apart from the flap. In my case, I use it as a shoulder bag 80% of the time. It makes things worse whenever I open the bag while it's hanging on my shoulder, and I was worried it would eventually scrape off the glazing on the flap if I disregard that issue. I did not notice this at all in the first few months of using it. I just happened to randomly inspect the bag close to 6 months of owning it, and then saw these sort of dents on the flap, and that's when I figured out what was happening. So what I had to do afterwards was to be mindful whenever I access the bag while carrying it on my shoulder. I usually carry it on my right shoulder, so I would pull the other end of the strap towards my left so that the clasps on both sides will not touch the flap. It was honestly annoying at first having to go to that extent, however I didn't want to have to go through all the trouble of having it repaired, etc., so I did end up getting used to doing it after some time. Unfortunately though, I can't say that my strategy completely worked 100%, because on this side here the glazing is just about to crack open, as you can see. There's already a visible horizontal line, which I think could get worse over time, so I am disappointed. Moving on, I mentioned the pros of the retractable top handle earlier, but this design also has a flaw which I just noticed before filming this video. It's another glazing issue wherein this part of the top handle rubs off on this leather piece here. The glazing was literally scraped off from the leather and it's very noticeable, as you can see. It's on both edges, so there are now 4 visible brown marks on the top handle, and this really disappointed me the most, considering that I only use the top handle whenever grabbing the bag or putting it down. So overall wear and tear. Upon further inspection of the bag, everything else seems to be fine. The glazing all throughout the flap, except for the sections I mentioned earlier, they're still in good shape. There are no issues with the piping, no cracks or scratches on the leather. The embossing on the front and back is still well defined. The glazing on the removable strap on both edges are still perfect. The glazing on the strap looped on the D-rings and both ends, as well as this leather piece here, are also in perfect condition, taking into consideration that this is a section that bears all the weight when the bag is carried on the shoulder or crossbody. All of the stitching are still in perfect shape. The hardware has scratches, but I don't mind since they're bound to happen anyway, especially with the S-Lock closure. You will get scratches on this piece of hardware. But I'm very happy that the 2 knobs on the S-Lock are still in a nice gold color, so that is fantastic. And then the big question: is the Pochette Métis worth it? My answer would be yes. I mean, I still reach for this bag often. I still think it's a beautiful piece, and I've used it so many times over the past 2 years. How about you? Do you think it's worth it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe to help me make more of these videos. Don't forget to ding that bell icon so that you'll get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.